And welcome to the January 2016 edition of Outlook Video, your nationally recognized, award-winning news magazine for LGBT communities. I'm Alice Heimsuth.
And I'm Jay Raley. All of us Outlook Video volunteers wish you and yours a very happy New Year!
It may be an obvious goal for our Outlook Video viewers to advance understanding and acceptance of gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people in all areas of society. But where are the groups empowered to further these goals in the real world? The Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, Transgender Caucus of the California Teachers Association is one agency with such influence in the California education community. We start our New Year's with Roberta Gonzalez-Gregg interviewing Katherine Calazrita, Director of Region 1 of that caucus. We task Roberta Gonzalez-Gregg with double duty this month. She will also bring us her conversation with Janet Childs, Director of Education and Training at the Center for Living with Dying. With so much violence happening around the world and in our communities, Roberta asked Janet for ways to cope, reach out, and acknowledge unresolved grief.
Serious stuff. Jessica Johnson is a multi-talented singer and songwriter who has graced our shows several times in the past and performed some of her music live in the studio. Jessica has just come out with a video of her singing "Oh Baby, I Love Your Way." We are pleased to be able to share it with you later in the show.
For now, we go to Roberta Gonzalez-Gregg in the studio with Katherine Calazrita.
Outlook Video welcomes Katherine Calazrita, Region 1 Director of the California Teachers Association Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, Transgender Caucus. Welcome, Katherine, and thank you for joining us this evening. I appreciate you being here and taking the long trek from Region 1. Plows, where is Region 1? I know there are 4 altogether, so that's somewhere in the Bay Area?
Yeah, it covers the Bay Area, it goes all the way up to the Oregon border, but I live, I live in Santa Rosa and work in Vallejo, so it's not too far.
Oh, okay, that's still a bit of a trek.
It's a bit of a drive.
Thank you for taking this trek down here, and thank you for explaining what that area is. So this caucus covers all of California, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's a very large area and a lot of students and teachers. So with this in mind, can you tell me, please, is there a real big diverse community there that you serve?
Well, the caucus covers the whole state, and what it is in each region there's a diverse amount of teachers in that region. But a lot of the stuff that we do in the caucus also relates to our students. Some of the laws that we've talked about and stuff relate to the students also. So what it is the caucus just is out there trying to get information so that it can get the information to the teachers, so that teachers can get the information to the students and for the state.
Okay. Well, as a good teacher, you gave me a little bit of homework talking about that, and I looked up the laws, which I'm going to use my cheat sheets here, and one of them was AB 120, let's see, 1266. That is the one in regards to the transgender status, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so please expound a little bit about that, and how does this involve with the caucus?
Okay, AB 1266 clarifies that students, no matter what, have access to educational resources based on their gender identity, okay? And because of that, it also says that they're able to participate in sex-segregated activities based on gender identity also, which includes athletic teams and the bathrooms. And that's what everybody's out there going, oh, it's the bathroom bill, it's the bathroom bill. It's not about the bathroom, it's about gender identity and sexual orientation.
Okay.
So, and some people are having a discussion about this. It's like, is that fair on athletic teams? Should a transgender person be on an athletic team as they're transferring into that other, not transferring, but becoming the other gender,
Transitioning
right?
into a different gender,
yes.
yes.
There was a word.
Yeah.
Transitioning into the gender that they believe they are. And so there's been comments back and forth in the state. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. But then I did a little research myself, and the IOC, which is the International Olympic Committee,
Yes.
says that they decided they're going to allow transgenders to participate, but in order for them to participate, they have to actually have had reconstructive surgery, have hormone therapy for 2 years, and have registered and changed their gender on their birth certificate.
Is this a guideline that your caucus is using as well?
No, because we're not able to change that. When the bill came out, they decided that they were just going to go with it, and what's been happening is there's been a lot of discussion. Is it fair? Is it not fair? Is it, how's it going to be fair? What's going to be fair? Oh, it's about the bathrooms. We don't want the boys in the girls' bathroom. We don't want the girls in the boys' bathroom. The transgender student just needs a safe place.
Yes.
So whatever the schools can do to make a safe environment for the transgender student.
And speaking of that, the caucus goals are to ensure the safety of GLB students and staff in California public schools, to protect the rights and interests of gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender members of the association and their supporters. So that just falls in line, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
It does. Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Now, there's one more bill, AB 537, and that's indeed about protecting rights. Now, that is a mandate, is it not?
It is a mandate, yes.
Okay.
And what it is, it's actually in addition to the Student Safety and Violence Prevention Act of 2000. And what they did is they made sure that students were all protected under it. Let me see. Oh yeah, but protect students and school staff from harassment and discrimination is basically what it was.
Okay.
And what they actually added is they added on there a part that said actual or perceived sexual orientation or gender identity.
Okay.
So that's what was added to that act to make sure that everybody was protected.
I see. Because I know, especially in middle schools and junior high and high school areas, that's bullying seems to be
a big thing.
Just
yes.
kind of a big thing. All of us got teased as we were growing up. For one reason, I was so short, and I got teased about being such a little short girl, and for other reasons, people get teased and bullied. But now they are more protected in this regard?
Yeah, and there's actually the main one that really started with some of this called AB 9, and they call it Seth's Law. They call it Seth's Law because there was a young man named Seth in California that was bullied and harassed so much that he took his own life. So what they did is they said, because of AB 9, they said that districts need to establish bullying policies, right? They need to make sure that they recognize when someone's being bullied, and they also need to make sure that the whole staff is trained to intervene and recognize.
Now the whole staff being trained. So does a caucus do that?
No, it's actually the districts are doing that. So the caucus was out there trying to get some of these laws put in there. That's part of what we do. We intervene and try and help legislation go through. That's part of our goal too. But then once the law is passed, then it's on the districts and the state to follow through with that.
So we can look forward to such laws continuing to be implemented?
Oh yes. Oh, absolutely.
Very
and
good.
there's always new ones out there that we're looking at to make sure that things happen,
terrific.
is to protect our students and our staff, because we
Yes.
have GLBT staff that get harassed too.
Okay, so that's something else that
Yes.
the caucus also takes
Yes.
a look at.
Yes, we do.
Oh, excellent. Very good to know that. And you've been, so you're not a newbie at this either. You've been teaching in the California schools for quite some time, have you
Yes,
not?
for 21 years, yes.
Wow, goodness, that's
Yes.
really great to know. So
Yeah.
you've dealt with all these students in different areas.
Yes.
Terrific. Well, thank you so very, very much for being a part of this caucus, for bringing this to our audience and our viewers, and to keep going on those laws to help our students keep safe.
Yes.
And feeling comfortable in the classrooms. That
Yes.
makes a big, big difference.
And our staff too.
Yes,
There's
and
a
our
lot of-
staff too as
there's
well.
a
We
lot of-
want future generations to prosper
Yes.
and to grow and prosper. So
Yes.
thank you so much, Catherine. And for those of you who want to know some more information about Katherine and her caucus, if you look at the at your screen right now, Katherine was kind enough to give us her email address, which is
RETE45R@yahoo.com.
You can reach her that way. Katherine, once again, thank you so very, very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you
and
for having
doing the
me.
work that you do.
Thank you.
We love to get mail from you. Email us at comments@outlookvideo.org.
To contact us by phone, call 408-293-3040, extension 205.
Visit our website at outlookvideo.org.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/outlookvideo.
And connect with us at facebook.com/outlookvideo.
Center for Living with Dying program of the Bill Wilson Center has been a steadfast and safe place for people going through grief from the loss of a loved one. The program offers emotional support, crisis intervention, and stress management with Janet Childs at the helm as director. Janet, thank you once again for joining Outlook Video and being with us this evening.
It's an honor to be here, Roberta.
Okay. Now, in the past, you've told us about and given us the opportunity to explain what the Living with Dying Center does there at the Bill Wilson Center. What is the program at the Bill Wilson Center which you offer clients?
It is to provide support and education and intervention for people living with the issues of loss and grief, trauma, serious illness, dying, or stress of any kind. And we work with both responders and caregivers and people from age 2 to age 92.
Oh.
So our youngest client was age 2, and our oldest client was actually, I believe, 102.
My goodness.
So
I didn't realize that you also
Yes.
did with first small children. I thought it was all adults.
Absolutely.
So it's people all throughout the community.
Absolutely. And we have a special program for youth and children who are going through grief called our Healing Heart program, which is fantastic. We have the littles, the middles, and the teens, and they get to meet in the age group that's their own age group. And so they know that a person their own age has gone through a loss.
Yes.
And then the adults meet in their adult group at the same time.
And that, and I know to have a peer really
Yes.
means a great deal.
Absolutely.
To realize that you're not alone.
Absolutely.
You know, that you're not the only one going through this type of experience. And that, again,
Yes.
that you're not alone with. With all the violence that's going on in the world right now, in our state, in our country, in the world, how does the Bill Wilson Center handle that type of grief and loss?
We can provide both individual, group, and community support.
Yes.
We can gather people together that are feeling the loss of safety in the
Yes.
aftermath of these terrorist attacks and violent incidents. And I think one of the ways that we've found over the years, just doing this work for over 40 years now, which is amazing, is that bringing people together that makes them the best support for each other. So when we're dealing with it in isolation, it's much harder than if we can deal with it in community and provide that support and courage and affirmation for each other that yes, we've indeed survived a very violent, critical incident, and we can be the best support as we're moving forward.
My spouse and I had immediate family who were in Paris at the time of the attacks in France, and this was extremely upsetting. How does the Bill Wilson Center deal with things that are this type of violence?
One of the wonderful events that we have every year is our Light of Lights candle lighting ceremony,
Yes,
where we
indeed.
actually lit candles
Yes.
in honor of people that have died by violence and
Yes.
people that have died of serious illness and all kinds of issues around grief and loss. And it brought us together as a community and enabled us to do an action step of lighting the candle. And when we do that, it takes us from out of control and puts us more in control. It's true, we can't stop the event from happening, but we can control how we respond to that event.
Well, now, is that what the people are doing when we see on television when they're taking candles and flowers and balloons and such to
Absolutely.
sites which have happened all over the world? Now, is that the action part for them?
That's the action part.
Excellent.
And it also it's a way of honoring. So it's not only, this is acknowledging the death of this person, but it's also honoring the life of. And I'm glad to see that this is happening more, because what it does is you know, in former times, you know, many cultures around the world have specific ways we can honor the lives of people that we love who have died. But in our fast-paced society, we've kind of gotten away from it.
Yes.
And so now coming back together, and especially coming back together as community, supporting each other, creates a whole dynamic of hope and healing. In fact, there's a great psychologist that comes out of Stanford that kind of validates through clinical research everything we've been talking about for the past 25, 30 years.
Yes. So you were saying that this young lady had written a book, it's called The Upside of Stress.
Yes.
And it does document how this truly affects not only psychologically us, but physiologically as
That's
well.
correct.
So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. I'm so excited because it absolutely mirrors what we've been knowing for so long. And
How are those who are dealing with the stress of grief, how are those particular issues being handled at the Center for Living with Dying?
one thing is that our body responds in a stressful situation in a positive way for our survival. And we've been looking at stress as a negative response.
That's true.
And
Most of
looking
us
at
want to
grief.
avoid stress.
Right. And looking at grief as a negative response when
Yes,
it's not.
that's true.
It's actually our body and our mind's way of taking care of ourselves. So when we look at our stress response in a more positive way, it actually works for us. And when we gather together with others, it's a thing that Kelly McGonigal calls tend and befriend. We're actually tending and befriending, supporting each other. We boost the oxytocin, which is the good stress hormone, you know, the feel-good hormone
Yeah.
that happens when we come together and we're able to provide support to each other.
Well,
So
that's-
that's the positive out of this.
This is amazing. We know how good it feels just to get a hug from someone.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and we know that's a good feeling too. So is that
That's
process
exactly
going?
what it
That's
is.
what's happening?
That's what's happening.
I
And
see.
it also helps us to create meaning. We are meaning-making animals. And so when we can make meaning out of our pain and grief, then the pain and grief is not for nothing.
There'll be an AIDS rejuvenation retreat coming up. Is that correct? Tell us about that. Okay.
And that came out of how can we make meaning? How can we make a healing day of fun and meaning? Having survived living with HIV, having survived having family members or loved ones, you know, dealing with that issue, how could we make meaning out of it? How could we learn from it and become deeper, better people? And that's what it's about.
And when in January does that happen?
It's the fourth Friday, I believe it's January 24th.
Okay.
And everyone is welcome who is either living with HIV, friends, family members, lovers, or professional caregivers that work with HIV. All three groups are welcome. It's free of charge.
Oh,
And it's a wonderful day where we just play, eat, and just have wonderful healing practitioners, do massage and
Oh, my.
chiropractic, and it's an incredible day of healing.
oh my goodness. Talk about being community oriented and doing things
yes.
for the community. And where will this retreat be held?
It will actually be held at a wonderful location,
Okay.
the Center for Creative Living, that donates their space to it every quarter.
very, very
And we have it
nice.
in January, April, July, and in October.
In the Light of Lights event, which you recently held, there was one person in particular who had something very wonderful to say. Can you tell us about that?
I was so excited. When she came up and told me, she said, "Thank you for encouraging me to come." It was her first Light of Lights. And she had just lost a very dear family member. And she said, "Janet, I came here scared and shut down. I was scared about coming. I didn't want to come." She said, "I sobbed uncontrollably as I went up to light my candle." She said, "I was held without judgment, and loving hands and voices cradled me to the new realization that my love will never die."
Oh, how beautiful. That's poetic.
It's poetic.
It is.
It
It's
was-
truly poetic. What a blessing.
Absolutely.
You're making me, I'm tearing up.
It's powerful.
But it is. It's very, very powerful. It's so powerful. And you said about 200 people were at this event.
It was an amazing event.
Yes, yes.
And everyone just showed up with their hearts open and courageously acknowledged their loss, but also claimed their love.
Oh my goodness! What a great way to do that, and to be supportive of someone who's going through a loss as well.
Absolutely, and they became supportive of each other.
Wow! It went full circle. Yes.
Full circle.
Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness! What a wonderful thing.
And that's the power of when we can acknowledge and we
Yes.
can express. Because if we have a safe place to acknowledge, then we're not fighting our grief. We're working with it. We're flowing with it. And we're seeing, what can I gather from this that will give me new meaning as I move forward in my life.
We were also saying off camera how we both dislike that saying that, oh, get over it.
Yes.
When someone, you know, you're
Yes.
going through something and someone just says, oh, get over it. That's not exactly what we should be doing. We should be getting through it.
Yes.
And I think that's what what your program does so splendidly. Now, back to there are 4 steps. There's the acknowledgement,
Yes.
expressing, and there's 2 more.
Yes.
And the action,
Action.
which is, as we talked about, the lighting of lights, and there's celebrate.
Yes.
How can we celebrate the loss of someone?
And now this sounds almost counterintuitive, doesn't it? How do we
does.
celebrate? But what we mean by celebrate is getting reconnected back to what is still good in your life. Even after having survived a great loss, what is still standing? What is still good? What is still sweet? We can still appreciate the ocean and its, you know, rushing waves and beautiful fragrant air and seagulls. We can still experience a sunrise. We can still experience a love of a person that is still alive, or a wonderful coworker that is sensitive to us and provides us with support. We can appreciate that we are still alive, that maybe, you know, people we love did not survive, but that we are survivors, and how can we make the world a better place?
Thank you for joining us once again, Janet. And for our viewers, please take a look at your screen, and you can see how you can contact the Bill Wilson Center and the Center for Living with Dying.
If you have somebody that you love and that you care about, you can bring them up or dance with them right where you're at. Shadows grow so long before my eyes, and they're moving across the page. Suddenly the day turns into night, far away from the city, but don't hesitate, 'cause you're just one way. Oh yeah. Ooh, baby, I love you every day. I wanna tell you I love you everywhere. I wanna be with you night and day. Moon appears to shine and light the sky with a heaven. Some fire eyes. I wonder how they have the power to shine, shine, shine. I can see them under the pine. Don't hesitate, 'cause your love
And that's it for our first Outlook video edition of 2016. To find all of our archive segments from the past several years, go to YouTube channel at youtube.com/OutlookVideo and click on the subscribe button to get further notification of all our new segments as we post them.
And you can friend us on Facebook at facebook.com/OutlookVideo. Outlook Video is made possible by support from viewers like you and talented volunteers behind the camera. We close with some footage from last year's Silicon Valley Prides featuring Steve Grand in Word and Song. From all of us here at Outlook Video, thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Bye for now.
Midwest boys like to party.